So yeah, back to this game where Alienware TG's push strategy headed up by the Rashta, not like a crazy push strategy with a Rashta, Pugman, and Broodmother all on the same team, which would be baller, but just the Rashta alone has enabled them to push quite effectively, and that has really done wonders against the Stars Boba team, who I guess just not prepared to counter this push strat. We see the Witch Doctor working on a mechanism. The Rylai with nothing much. The Nevermore is packing a Blade of Alacrity. He's got his BKB. I guess the no blink in sight, I guess. We'll see how much gold he has. If he has a Blade of Alacrity, that's a sign that he's moving towards the Asha/Manta, and he has no gold. So at the beginning, I was kind of looking forward to a lot of blinking in from the Nevermore and the Puck and the Sven. The Puck, of course, has his Blink Dagger at this point in the game. And the Sven has his, but the Nevermore does not, which is a bit surprising. I think that might have been a poor choice on his part. I mean, no doubt that this Nevermore player is more experienced than I am, but from my perspective, I really was looking forward to see a lot of Blink action. Now we have another push coming bottom lane, and Rash's ultimate is available. However, it should be worth noting that the Lich's ultimate is on cooldown for another 30 seconds. So if the Sentinel forced the fight right now, Lich wouldn't be able to ultimate, but the fight's probably going to drag out, and Lich probably will get an ultimate off. And Sentinel, what are they just content? Okay, Scourge is initiating on Sven, who goes down to tons of nukes, and Kunkka's boat Kunkka's boat finishes him off, which is kind of funny. Witch Doctor pops off his mechanism, Nevermore uses his ultimate. Kunkka's in a lot of trouble from the Crystal Maiden's ultimate of all things. Lion goes down, however, he does have a Ankh. Rashta force staffs himself to safety. There's the ultimate from the Lich that I saw we would see if the battle dragged on, which did. The Puck blinks in, however the Rashta tornadoes him rather cheekily. The Lich is just spamming his Nova whenever he can, and it doesn't look like they're going to get the Rax at this point, because the Nevermore's here and he is commanding authority. The Lion did buy back, which is a bit unusual. Now he's walking in. Kind of a strange buyback, without any way to teleport back into the action. I'm not certain why he did it. This tower's at 5 health. Maybe he did it to make that tower not die. I'm not certain. No, like, those creeps are pushing so hard. In any event, so Puck is just... So, that push, it did not result in a Rax kill, but it did get a tower kill, so... Even more gold for the Sentinel team. As Kunkka, only 25 minutes into a game, despite having a pretty subpar creep kill stats, his items are remarkable nevertheless. He has his BKB and his Vanguard 25 minutes in, which is great for a Kunkka, I think. I'd be happy with it. He did not go for Battle Fear though, so he's a very tanky defensive Kunkka kind of build. Puck got an ult off on Rashta, however Scourge is going to make a fight out of it. Kunkka uses X marks the spot on Sven. The Witch Doctor ults, but he's in a bit of trouble because he's ulting alone, and a boat gets him, great boat. The Venge swaps in the Crystal Maiden, so they're going to get her as well. And with all these kills they're picking up outside the base, Lion actually comes in with his Force Staff and gets some more killing on. The Puck is in a bit of trouble. The Nevermore's ultimate gets cancelled by a swap from the Venge, so the Lion is running away. The Nevermore's right click is doing a lot of damage. Sven's probably going to stun in another second. It's got a very short cooldown. And he does have a Blink Dagger, so Sven's probably going to kill someone else, I would imagine. Lich gets an ult off a bit too late and very ineffective, however. It is almost enough to get the Sven. The Lion force staffs himself through the trees to pick off the Sven. However, the Nevermore raises him in return. A very nice little bit of action there, I think. And Vengeful Spirit's trying to solo this Nevermore. Okay, here's the Lich to back her up, and he Frost Novas her, and they do the howl to get the sight off, and Nevermore's in a lot of trouble. Puck actually shows up on the scene. And down goes the Nevermore, but the Lich dies as well, and the Venge actually dies too. And this is just a running battle. Rashta force staffs himself away, however, he's running from a Puck who's a very mobile hero, and he's going to have a hard time escaping Puck. So Puck is blinked in. Rashta actually pops his ultimate, however, Puck does his little blink. Rashta hexes him and lightnings him. Now, this Witch Doctor's in trouble. Rash is like having a last stand with his wards on a hill. It's like the Alamo here. But now he's in full retreat. He's not going to defend the Alamo because he knows that once his cavalry, these wards go down, he's not going to be far behind. Actually, I take that back. He's sticking around because this Kunkka's coming in from the side and they're hanging around. We'll see if maybe he tries. If I was him, I would have killed these neutrals with my wards. But in any event, Kanka is getting off some extra farm. Not that he really needs it. He has pretty much everything he needs. A bit more damage, I guess, would be great. And one thing I want to say about just mentioning BKBs that I see all the time, but on strength heroes, always keep in mind it gives that 10 strength, it gives is 10 more damage. Good. Yum yum yum. In any event, so Kanka, despite not really having what you would consider any pure DPS items, does quite a bit of damage. Plus 57 and goes up to like 100 with his Tidebringer Slash. So Rash's ultimate, he used it in the woods, so it's another 40 seconds until he has it again. So we can look to see Scourge pushing probably in another 50 seconds or so. Until then, Sentinel has a bit of a respite to farm and maybe get some clutch items in. The Nevermore actually was getting quite a few kills. He did die, but he was probably got a lot of farm in from the action. And actually has no new items at the moment. He does have a couple thousand gold though. So that's, maybe he's getting his Blink Dagger perhaps? Or maybe he's just not getting his Yasha when he could be getting his Yasha. I imagine he must be trying to get his Blink Dagger. You need a Blink Dagger, Nevermore. Get a Blink Dagger. You want a Blink Dagger. So Rosh is respawned, and Scourge picks up the Rosh kill because they have total map control. It's always, that's the main benefit of map control, is that it really lets you get Rosh kills. So Scourge is filthy rich. Rashta's now finally has an ultimate orb. Maybe he's working on a sheep stick. I guess he's skipping the ult stick entirely. He's going for a sheep stick. But I doubt he'll finish it because this game won't drag on much longer. At this point in the game, I think whatever items you get, you're stuck with them. You're not going to be able to build a sheep stick. That ultimate orb is an ultimate orb. So here comes the push. This is going to be the second Rax down, and I don't think Sentinel can defend against it. We'll see how it works out though. Scourge is being very sort of tentative, waiting for their creeps to walk up. There's Rashta's ultimate. Nevermore gets swapped. He gets his BKB ult off. Witch Doctor gets an ult off, which is totally poning the Vengeful Spirit. Totally poning her, I said. There, down she goes. And Rash's ultimate is being picked off. Meanwhile, the Sven goes down in the back. Well, Rash is going to die in a second. He does tornado himself, so he might get away. We'll see if he can zip away. He does have a Force Staff. Force Staff up the hill. If he Force Staffs up the hill, but Crystal Maiden or something gets him even though he goes up the hill. I think Crystal Maiden's ultimate was still even hurting him up that high. He was still in reach. And Kanka is very tanky, but a tank without your team is not a tank that's going to live for very long. Down he goes. So that was a great fight for the Sentinel, and they could really come back and have a chance. If they can do that one more time, they could win this. But the one thing I want to mention is it's really hard to push when you have a lane as open as that. Rashta can easily come in and backdoor it. You have to be careful. And even like you could just glyph and TP home to prevent that, but it's still they have to keep that in mind. That they're going to have to always have this lane on their mind. It has no tower. It can fall. It's very vulnerable, which puts a damper on their ability to push. It's a thorn in their side, you could say. So this Venge does have her Ganem Scepter that I mentioned earlier that makes the cooldown on her swap like 15 seconds or something ridiculously low, so she can use it twice in a fight. And she is just giving Nevermore a Howl of Terror. Nevermore should really be immune to that. I mean, does Nevermore looks like he'd be afraid of a Howl of Terror? I don't think that would work on him, but oh well. Probably makes more sense than some other things, like life stealing from a skeleton. Whatever other silly things you can think of, there's probably millions of them. In any event, Rashta is bottom with the rest of his team, which means a push is coming, and their ultimates are all available except for Crystal Maidens, but that does not matter in the slightest. Kanka at the same items, he's been at them for a while. He does have a bit of gold. Maybe he just has it for a buyback in case things go terribly wrong. Although I'm not sure that 1500 is enough for a buyback after he loses some from dying. I don't think it is. Two Sentinel heroes mid, teleporting home. And here is the push. Dun dun dun. I thought the last one would be it, but now I think this was it. But their victory in the last one definitely did give them better chance of succeeding in this one. I'm not sure what went wrong for the Scourge. I think they just didn't commit. Rash used his ultimate, then they were all very tentative and stayed down here. And that's sort of what they're doing again. They're not really moving forward, they're just hanging back, and meanwhile the wards are being killed, and they're not really getting any mileage out of Rash's ultimate at all. I don't think... Okay, now after Rash's ultimate is down, they initiate the battle, which is very foolish. The Nevermore gets his ult off, and Kunkka is his BKB to protect himself from Nevermore's ult. And Nevermore's BKB runs out, and Nevermore goes down, and Crystal Maiden goes down, Vengeful Spirit almost goes down, but she lives. And despite, I don't really like the way Scourge did that battle, where they just sort of left Rash's ultimate on his own and really waited a long time to initiate until his ultimate was gone and killed. But they won the battle anyways. And this game was won by the pushing Rashta, no doubt about it. His early tower pushing, I think the first one was like 6 minutes, that won the game. And not only just that he was pushing, but really, Sentinel, they didn't try to defend hardly at all. I think they really needed to defend those tier 2 towers, and even those tier 1 towers. They did have one battle down here where they defended as hard as they could, and they lost it terribly, so maybe their failure to defend there just made them think that they shouldn't defend their towers and they should just give their towers up. But I think despite the fact that the defense went terribly when they tried it, they still had to keep trying to defend their towers instead of just letting them fall uncontested the way they did. And if they could have hung on for a little while longer, they might have pulled it out, because I don't know, Sven's farm is pretty mediocre. He's only at 7. I'll check everyone's farm here at the tail end of things. Nevermore's at 237, which is pretty darn good for 35 minutes, I'd say. But it's not so darn good when you consider the fact that the rest of his team has almost nothing. The Puck's at 100, Sven's at 80. I mean, because the farm is sort of a team thing, and there's only so much of it total. And if he had 240 while his teammates were also around 150, then I'd be impressed. But 240 while your teammates are at almost very poor farm is not so impressive. So Kunkka's picked up Messerschmitt's Reaver, this massive axe capable of tearing whole mountains down. If anyone played Diablo 1, they will remember the Reaver. It wasn't a very good item. I don't know why Kunkka's buying items that suck. He needs to get a King's Bastard Sword of the Heavens, or no, of Haste, or Speed. King's Sword of Speed, or Haste, or something like that, or Swiftness. I forget which one's the best. In any event, I'll stop talking about Diablo 1, because the final lane is being pushed. Sven is hexed, and he gets smoked by a Lion's Finger, and Rashta's ultimate is still up here. Kunkka's boat goes in. Nevermore is running away in shame while his Mantis trying to do some damage to Kunkka, who's just ridiculously tanky. He actually doesn't have Lich's Frost Armor on him, which is kind of foolish. I don't know why Lich hasn't given him his Frost Armor. Lich, you suck. So Kunkka goes down, all because Lich sucks and doesn't give him Frost Armor. Not that it matters, because Witch Doctor goes down. Vengeful Spirit's contemplating killing a crow. And the Raj's ultimate is almost about to expire, but so is one of the Raxes, and the GG call is made. So that is that, and Stars Boba falls to Alienware DG, which is, like I was saying earlier, Alienware DG, they're moving up in the world. I think they're a team that if you should keep an eye on, because I think they might start winning games against the LGDs and the eHomes, etc. of the world more and more often. So I'm not going to say much in the final analysis. I think at the end of the day, this game was just a story of an aggressive pushing Rashta playing against a team that just let him push, and that was their downfall. Anyways, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Keep the week to the over and out.